My name is Rosemary Dipietro, and I work with Montgomery County Health and Human Services. I'll be acting as the moderator today. I've worked in the disability community as a public servant for my entire career. I started with the state of Maryland in their Department of Mental Hygiene Administration, working with youth. And then I went on to work with the Montgomery County Therapeutic Recreation Department, and then finally landed with Montgomery County's Aging and Disability Services with the Community Support Network Unit in the capacity of the Coordination of Community Services as we know it now. So I'm going to go ahead now and let the rest of our panelists introduce themselves. We'll start with Virginia Thorogood from MMARS.
Thank you, Rosemary. Hello, everybody. My name is Virginia Thorogood. I am with MMARS, Inc. I have been doing coordination since 2014. I started as a CCS and then was promoted to Transition and Youth Lead, where I did supervise. And now I'm still currently the Transition and Youth Lead here at MMARS. So I have been doing Transition and Youth pretty much since 2014. So there's been all of the ups and downs and ins and outs, and I'm still here. So thank you guys for joining.
Thank you, Virginia. Next up, we'll have Linda Musiani from Optimal Health.
Hello, thanks, Rosemary. And I want to thank Karen and Rob for also letting us participate in this presentation, and it's been great. I've enjoyed it all through the day. I work with Optimal Healthcare, Inc. We are also an agency that provides CCS services through DDA. We have been doing it since 2014. I have also played a role as a CCS prior to me transitioning into an assistant director, as well as a resource and information specialist, which is I'm currently doing now with Optimal Healthcare. Optimal Healthcare does serve all of Maryland with the CCS services, and I know that we're one of 5 choices, and it's nice to have choices.
Thank you, Linda. Next up is going to be Shakeela Gray from Service Coordination Incorporated.
Hello, my name is Shakeela. I'm with Service Coordination Incorporated. We are a case management agency that provides services all throughout the state of Maryland. We recently started to support Montgomery County about 3 years ago. I started off as a CCS, a TY lead CCS myself, and then I transitioned into the TY lead supervisor. So we're happy to be participating in this TY fair today. And thank you very much, Karen, for allowing us to participate.
Thanks. And then finally, Kiarrá Bragg from Total Care Services.
Hi, everyone. It's me, Kiarrá Bragg. I started off with Total Care Services as a CCS as well, like everyone else, in 2017. And I quickly made my way to becoming the supervisor by the beginning of 2018. So I've kind of been here for a long time to understand the different changes that has went on with DDA and the different roles of a CCS, especially now during COVID. I love what I do. I love transitioning these students into adult services, and thank you for having us today.
Great. So now we're going to start with, I think we're going to start out with posing some questions to our panelists. I'm going to share my screen with you, and that way you'll be able to see the question that I'm asking. So give me just 1 second to see how I go about, how well I manage that. Give me just 1 second. So I'm looking for my share, my screen.
It should be at the bottom of your screen.
I'm not seeing it. Let me see if I need to pull up. I have my video on. I'm not seeing my share ability, but maybe Rob, if you were able to open up the presentation, you might be able to get it up on the screen there. If not, I'll just ask the questions. and call on a coordinator of community services. Let's see. Oh, here we go. I found my share screen. So
Just make it full screen.
all right, that's not the one that I wanted to share. Hold on. I'm going to get there in just a second. Not the Adobe. Here we go. Okay. All right, here we go. So this first question that we have is, describe how CCS agencies link transitioning youth and their families and caregivers to services, supports, and resources, including DDA provider agencies. This first question, I'm going to start with Kiarrá from Total Care. If you might respond to that question, please.
Hi, yes, of course. So the first thing that I want to make it clear that a lot of you should already know is that when we're talking about the terms transitioning youth, we are specifically talking about those students who are 21 years of age and coming out of school. I know a lot of times transitioning youth are students between that 14 and 21, but specifically right here when the CCS gets involved, you are more than likely have now turned 21 and you have now graduated. So what your CCS is responsible for doing is linking you to services that are connected and funded through DDA. So those services look like a variety of things. They're called meaningful day services, you have residential services, and also support services. So what we do is we work with the student, the family, and the school to gather a list of documentation, which includes the most recent IEP, psychological evaluations, behavioral plans, and a list of different things to gather information concerning that student and what their needs would be. When we have that information, we're also able to work with the student to develop something called a person-centered plan. So that is called a PCP. So when we use that information, we gather it all together, we come as a team, and we develop different types of resources and services that will help the student transition into those adult services, like I just mentioned, which are those meaningful day services. With that information, we also help you to complete a waiver application. That is the most important thing during this transition year, that waiver application, because it gives you two things, funding and services. And it's all about your needs. So say for instance, you want some behavioral supports. We're going to put that in your person-centered plan, and we're also going to make sure that we ensure that something within that most recent IEP shows why you would need those behavior supports. We're also going to put that in your waiver application. Most importantly, we're going to look for a provider with you that provides those behavior services. Once we gather all this information, we'll send out referral packets to different providers that you are interested in, and we will also help the team to develop a service funding plan while that waiver is in the process of being accepted by DDA, crossing our fingers. Because remember, it's all about eligibility, no longer about entitlement. And Linda, you can go ahead and take it away with some add-ons.
Thanks, Kiarrá. Again, when we talk about TY, it stands for Transitioning Youth, and those are our young people that are coming out of the school system, and if they're eligible for DDA, they will be assigned a CCS. A CCS is a coordinator of community services, and the current request at about age 18 is when they're assigned a CCS, and that is a non-funded service, but we do get in touch, and that's where we start the process. We will help with the transition from school to DDA. We attend IEPs. We will be available to connect with other resources in the community. We can help with doors. We can help with Social Security, Medicare, all of those things that are gearing up to that adulthood at age 21 when they are accepted for their funded day services. Our CCSs are dedicated to the families. They will have one CCS that will work with them. They are considered a liaison or an advocate for that family. So they are really working towards connecting to DDA, connecting to their communities at large, resources. And as Kiarrá said, that PCP, that person-centered plan, that is your starting point with what you want, what you need, and what you desire. And that is a fluid document that changes whenever it needs to change to meet the individual's needs. In optimal healthcare, we also have resource coordinators that oversee our coordinators that also help them maneuver their communities with resources, and they are also that mentoring link to our CCSs to help them with all the changes that go on always with DDA, to stay abreast of the policies and procedure changes. And also we have within optimal healthcare a new division, which is information and resources. And that is a free that's a free division that is open to anybody in the community that can call in with questions. They don't have to be linked with DDA. They don't have to have a CCS. They just call with questions.
Thank you so much, Kiarrá and Linda.
Yeah,
and now what I'd like to move to is our short presentation that Service Coordination Inc. has put together. And it's going to go into a little bit more and maybe repeat some of the same things that we'll hear throughout our live presentations. And that is just to say that there is consistency amongst coordination agencies throughout the state. So Shakeela, if there's anything that that we need as an introduction to your organization's presentation, I send it over to you, and Rob will get that video up and running.
No, our video is very detailed. It has all the information, basic information that families will want to hear. If there are any questions for our agency specifically, please be sure to put them in chat so we can reach out to you later with answers.
Coordination, and thank you for your interest in our transitioning youth program. Our mission at Service Coordination is to provide quality case management services to people with disabilities and other groups. We do this by helping people understand what their choices are and connecting them to resources in their communities in ways that respect their dignity and rights. We welcome all individuals who can benefit from our services. We help people understand options in a dignified and respectful way. What we do at Service Coordination, we assess, we listen to and observe each person to learn what is important to them. We plan. We support the development of plans that are tailored to each person's needs. We connect. We identify and access resources. We monitor. We ensure that people are getting the services and supports detailed in their plan. We advocate. We educate, inform, and support people to make choices and decisions. Here at Service Coordination, our team operates on 4 core values. Number 1, people come first. We show respect and honor for all people in words and actions. The person we support is at the center of our work. Number 2, we drive solutions. We persistently seek opportunities and overcome obstacles. We navigate systems to make possibilities a reality. Number 3, we build connections. Because relationships are the foundation of our work, we share strong working relationships with each other and with those outside of our organization. Number 4, we educate. We raise awareness in communities to appreciate the similarities and unique gifts of each person. We explore choices with people we support. Service Coordination employs more than 350 service coordinators, also known as a coordinator of community service, or for short, a CCS. Our CCSs execute our agency's 4 core values in the services they provide. People always come first. We drive solutions, we build connections, and we educate. The big question: who is eligible for DDA and CCS services? To receive the support of a CCS, you must apply to the Developmental Disabilities Administration. Unlike school services, DDA services are not an entitlement program, and students must meet specific eligibility requirements. Access to funds and services depend on the determination of a qualifying intellectual or developmental disability, the ability to qualify for medical assistance and a DDA waiver, funding availability, and timeframe requirements. The service coordinator will assist the student and family with transition planning and will help the eligible student access funding from the Developmental Disabilities Administration and other sources. The transition year for the student is a crucial time to access DDA funding for a meaningful day, employment, and support services. Who are transitioning youth? Students with an intellectual or developmental disability transitioning from school to adult services are referred to as transitioning youth. The transition process begins at the age of 14. Individuals who are interested in receiving DDA services as a transitioning youth will only be able to access their funds after their 21st birthday. Students who meet the eligibility and financial criteria may access DDA services through the Governor's Transitioning Youth Initiative during this transition year. It is very important to use this window of time to access funding, otherwise students may remain on the waiting list for DDA services. The Governor's Transitioning Youth Initiative supports students to apply for a DDA waiver to obtain needed meaningful day and vocational support. The service coordinator will work closely with the student to develop a person-centered plan and apply for a DDA waiver, determine their goals for employment and independence, help connect them with a provider, and consider the student's health and safety in the planning process. We are planning for the future. Employment First is a concept to facilitate the full inclusion of people with the most significant disabilities in the workplace and community. Under the Employment First approach, community-based integrated employment is the first option for youth and adults with significant disabilities. All people who want to work can work and contribute to their communities when given opportunity, training, and supports that build upon their unique talents, skills, and abilities. The service coordinator will work closely with the student to identify their goals and the supports and services needed to engage in a meaningful day and begin their trajectory towards employment. Service coordination is here to help. Please reach out to one of our Southern Regional contacts, Mary Ellen Stevens, Shakeela Gray, or Sundis Neda for additional information. Or you can reach us at our website, www.servicecoordinationinc.org.
Thank you so much, Shakeela.
And so with that,
And
let's get started. If you're having any technical issues, you can go ahead and chat those to us as well. And we have some folks.
okay, I think I need to share my screen again. And so I'm going to go ahead and do that. Okay, our next question is, in what ways are the coordinators from your organization involved with the school staff of the transitioning youth students that you serve? And I'm going to throw that question out there to Virginia from MMARS.
Thank you, Rosemary, and thank you. This is a very, very important question. I know that a lot of families have a lot of anxiety when it comes to the communication between the school and the CCS agencies. You've been used to having direct access to the school system. So I want to assure you that we are in communication with the school. I am the transitioning youth lead, and what I do is I work very closely with the CCSs and their supervisors. We all work closely with Margaret Parrott from Montgomery County Public Schools, and we do meet one-on-one periodically to actually go over each and every case and each and every family that are going to be graduating. What we do discuss, we discuss that person's status. We also ensure that the contact information is up to date and that everyone can kind of be in contact with one another. It is super important that we have the DDA, the CCS agencies, and the school along with the families on one accord where we are all in communication and where the contact information is up to date. So we ensure that the CCSs are able to maintain communication throughout the year so that they can do an efficient job at case management as it pertains to each transitioning youth and their placement when they are going to be going into the adult services with DDA. So I communicate all the time with Margaret. She lets me know who the new transitioning youth teacher is if there's a change, and or who is the transitioning teacher. And I usually forward that to the CCSs. There's a nice loop that we all stay in contact together. And Margaret has played a very wonderful part in making sure that we know who is going to be graduating, that everybody really is on one accord with that, and so that we can make sure that no one is left behind or fall through the cracks. So we have a very awesome communication line through Margaret and the transitioning youth teachers.
And I will second that. Thank you, Virginia.
You're welcome.
There's a three-way loop there, really, where we're looking to the school system, and Margie is our linchpin in making sure that every CCS agency is aware of students who are coming out of school. And then that third party, of course, is the Developmental Disability Administration, right? And so all three entities are working very closely together to make sure that we support every single student that is leaving the school system, whether they are leaving a private setting or Montgomery County Public Schools. Margie is our wonderful support to that. So thank you very much there. Our next video is going to be presented by Optimal Healthcare. And Linda, if you'd like to lead us into that, Rob will get it queued up for us.
Sure, thanks. Yeah, this is a small video we put together just to kind of an overview. It's a very short version. We do have a more intense version that we do with a larger group if it's needed. But please view, and if you have any questions, all of our contact is there.
I think we're having a little bit of trouble with the sound here, but I see Rob is working on it. So have some patience, please. It sounds like it's trying to have sound.
Hey, Karen, you just need to unmute yourself and we'll be able to hear it.
Start at the beginning.
Hi, I'm Julie Christopher, and I'm one of the specialists on Optimal Healthcare's Information and Resource team. Today, I'm going to be sharing some information with you about how Optimal Healthcare can help you apply for DDA services and provide a brief overview of our DDA coordination services. I will also tell you about our Information and Resource program, which is a free program we offer to communities across the state of Maryland. On the right side of this slide, you can find the QR code that will take you directly to the DDA application. All you have to do is point your smartphone camera at this black and white box, and your phone should be able to generate the link for you. If you need help completing the DDA application, you can reach out to Optimal Healthcare specialist in your region for assistance. Contact information for our specialists will be listed at the end of this presentation. When applying for DDA, you want to be sure to provide as much supporting documentation as possible. These documents will include the IEP, the BMP if applicable, and the most recent psychological evaluations with IQ testing provided by the school. It's important that the psychological evaluation has occurred within the last 3 years. Other examples of supporting documentation include any documents that show justification of need for DDA services. These may be police reports, documentation from private therapy services, and any relevant medical documents or hospitalization records. If you're struggling to locate these documents, Optimal Healthcare Specialists can help you with obtaining relevant documentation to accompany the application. After your application is received by DDA, DDA will randomly assign a service coordination agency to complete a comprehensive assessment with you. A comprehensive assessment consists of specialists gathering the appropriate documentation and composing a report that will describe and justify your child's need for DDA services. Completing the comprehensive assessment requires an interview with the caregiver and/or individual to ensure that the report is personalized and reflects the individual's unique needs. Once DDA receives the completed comprehensive assessment, DDA will send you an eligibility letter within 60 days notifying you of their decision. Part of this letter includes the option to indicate which service coordination agency you prefer to work with. The letter will have a list of service coordination agencies in your region, and you have the option to choose any agency that you wish. You can indicate your preference on this letter and return it to DDA by mail, or you can call DDA and let them know your preference. If you don't indicate a preferred agency within 30 days, DDA will randomly select the service coordination agency for you. However, you can still change agencies at a later date. Once an individual is determined eligible for DDA services, they will be contacted by their assigned coordinator of community services, also called a CCS. The CCS will then help the individual obtain DDA services and assist the family with developing a person-centered plan. The person-centered plan is an annual document that is used to maintain funding and specify goals related to DDA services. Generally, the CCS will check in to monitor progress towards goals in the PCP at least every 3 months. Of course, you can reach out to your CCS with questions or concerns at any time. The CCS can also assist with connecting clients to community resources that may contribute to the individual's vision of a good life. DDA considers those aged 18 to 21 years old as transitioning youth. During this period, individuals are considered to be on a wait list. However, they will still be eligible to receive CCS services. During this time, CCSs play the important role of connecting transitioning youth to needed community resources and helping them prepare for receiving DDA services at 21 years old. Information and Resource Services is a new program we're providing to our families. This service is free, and we really want to encourage families and communities to take advantage of this wonderful program. Information and Resources is especially helpful for those who are not currently receiving DDA services. We are able to help families and individuals find resources within their community, attend IEP meetings, and offer educational advocacy. We have partnered with a variety of agencies specializing in helping those with disabilities across communities in Maryland. In these partnerships, we have created educational workshops that specifically address the needs and challenges of the community. We also have been able to develop some recreational groups and classes that assist in community integration. Usually, we would provide most of our services in face-to-face format, but due to COVID-19, we have expanded our service delivery avenues to include communicating and collaborating via Zoom, Google Hangouts, and of course, making use of phone calls and email. So that's our overview of services and programs offered by Optimal Healthcare. On this slide, you'll see the contact information for the Information and Resource team. Carla Robeson is the director of this program, and you can find her information in the top bubble on the screen. We also have contact information listed for our Information and Resource Specialists based on region. So in the Western region, we have Susan Carriola, and you can see that her information is provided in the bubble to the left. Next, in the Southern region, we have Kirsten Hill, and the Central region is served by Linda Musiani. and I serve the Eastern Shore, so you can find my contact information in the bubble to the right of the screen. We hope you found this information helpful, and we'd love to hear from you.
Thank you, Linda. And going back to our questions, we are going to switch over to the next question, which is going to go to Shakeela from SCI. Share one aspect of your organization's model that makes transitioning youth services unique or different from the typical case management services otherwise. Oh, Shakeela, are you here?
Sorry, I was on mute. When it comes to
Go back.
transitioning youth services with service coordination, our team operates from the person-first approach. We recognize that the transition process can be long and challenging for some individuals. As opposed to other case management agencies, the one thing that we do that is different, we meet our transitioning youth multiple times throughout the year. Our team increases the frequencies in which visits and meetings are held, and they start at the age of 18 instead of 21. We try to meet the transitioning youth once a quarter to start to develop a relationship with each individual to identify their wants, needs, and the supports that they will need once they transition out of school. We do this by slowly developing the focus area exploration. The focus area exploration is a significant portion of the person-centered plan that outlines what's working and what's not working in an individual's life.
Thank you very much, Shakeela. And you brought up a great point about how I think all of the coordination agencies do tend to meet with people who are in their last 1.5 to 2 years of school before going into adult services more frequently than what is required by the Code of Maryland's regulations. So I appreciate you bringing up that as a major point in the differences between the case management that a transitioning youth person gets as opposed to those people who are either on the waiting list or already in services. So thank you for that.
You're welcome.
Our final video will be one that MMARS produced. And I would ask Virginia if there's anything that you want to say to lead us into that video. Feel free.
Not too much. We are really doing everything that the other agencies are doing. I just wanted to add, if there's any questions, feel free to email me or call me anytime Monday through Friday with questions if you're interested in becoming a family that is served by MMARS. So that's it.
Okay. All right, Rob.
Hello, and welcome to MMARS, which stands for Medical Management and Rehabilitation Services. I would like to start by telling you about MMARS' mission. So MMARS' mission is to provide quality, person-centered resource coordination, care management, and case management services to people with disabilities, the elderly, and those in need or at risk. Our mission is to assist people regardless of ethnic or cultural diversity to obtain the services they desire to meet their goals, to live independently in the least restrictive environment. We want them to be safe and to be offered choices and treated with respect to express their opinions in achieving these goals. In order to accomplish this, what we do is we partner with our community and the people that we serve in order to connect them with resources and supports that will further their life and health goals, always with respect for their choices, for their rights, and for the dignity of the people that we serve. Our philosophy. MMARS' philosophy provides quality, person-centered resource coordination, care management, and case management services. Our coordinators of community services, or our CCSs, will listen to the people that we serve, finding out who they are and what is important to them. Preconceived notions should be put aside and simply listen to the person and their loved ones, working with them to develop an essential lifestyle plan that will help the coordinator to better know how to assist the person. The role of our coordinator is to help make it happen and to keep the plan moving forward toward the individual's goals. Each member of our organization has the goal of developing a trusting, ongoing working relationship with the people that they serve. What areas do we serve? So MMARS currently provides coordination services throughout the entire state of Maryland. These persons that we serve have been referred to us through the Department of Health and Mental Hygiene, DDA, or Developmental Disabilities Administration. The individuals served. MMARS is authorized as a provider of resource and support coordination as a part of Maryland's DDA program. Case management is offered whether you are on the DDA waiting list or receiving ongoing community coordination services. We have some of the most experienced coordinators serving the DDA program today, with years of experience and specific expertise in crisis resolution, the waiting list equity fund, and money follows the person program. We also have experienced coordinators focused on the Governor's Transitioning Youth Initiative, or the TY, or Transitioning Youths, with years of experience. We are in your community. We come to you. In a normal circumstance, our model would be that our CCSs come to your home. This is a new and improved way of ensuring that your coordinator knows your community. This approach is also environmentally friendly, family friendly, and allows for a more person-centered approach to case management. What makes our TY department different? We have years of experience with the Governor's Transitioning Youth Initiative. We have a unique quality enhancement tracking system to ensure that there is no one that falls through the cracks. We have an exceptional program policy that streamlines the transitioning youth process to make the enrollment into the DDA vocational services easy and stress-free. If you would like to have more information, or you would like MMARS to be your coordinator for DDA services, you can contact me. I'm Virginia. I'm the Transitioning Youth Lead. My number is 410-952-2713, or you can email me at vthorogood@marsrc.com.
Thank you very much from MMARS. And let's go back to our...
Hey everybody, it's Tuesday tip time. This is the coaching educator with I'm Carol.
No worries. Okay, so I believe it's going to be our last question is going to go to Shakeela. How would you describe the ways in which CCS agencies have adjusted to delivering case management services amidst the pandemic?
During this pandemic, our agency has adjusted by providing virtual visits. We have the ability to facilitate virtual visits with video capabilities so that we can keep as much visual contact as possible. Our coordinators provide more frequent check-ins with individuals based on the needs, sometimes as frequently as once a week. The check-in will occur by phone, video, email, or whatever the individual prefers. We find as many virtual engagement activities and opportunities that individuals may be interested in attending. Our goal during the pandemic is to continue to provide quality customer service while ensuring that all of the health and safety needs of our individuals are being met during this challenging time.
Thank you very much, Shakeela. And I will say that the job of the coordinator of community services has not been diminished during this pandemic. It has indeed shifted, and I think I can speak for all of the organizations that are delivering coordination of community services. While it has been a challenge and DDA continues to make numerous changes to the work that we provide to you, coordination of community services programs have adjusted and done an extraordinary job of making sure that we keep in touch and that we work to identify as many resources that are now out there in the community that are delivered virtually, including getting connected to provider agencies of the DDA services in virtual like settings. So our we've actually hit our mark of our 45-minute time slot. Rob, if there are any questions in the chat that you would like to pose to us, I'd be more than happy to stick around for a couple of minutes to try to answer those here. If not, we will provide some written guidance on the questions that you have.
Yes, there are a couple of questions here. Okay. A few folks had asked about a phone number, I think, that Linda mentioned earlier. And we're just curious, Linda, if you could post that phone number about questions, if folks have questions. I think you mentioned a number they could call. If you could post that in the chat for everybody.
Oh, that would be the information and service kind of referral resources program.
Yeah. Absolutely, I can put that in there. Thank you.
Thank you.
One person asked, you know, when you guys were talking about the relationship that you have with Margie from MCPS, you know, they mentioned that it's great that you have that connection, but how do you maintain a connection with transitioning youth in private schools?
That's a great question. And so that's where that third ring of this group of support to transitioning youth comes into play in a pretty extraordinary way. And so Nicole at DDA for the Southern Maryland Regional Office right now is our point of contact to link us to the transitioning support teachers at the private organizations. So we rely on DDA to help connect us to those school personnel.
Great. Another kind of on the self-directed side of things, since support brokers aren't required anymore, how does the CCS support someone whose choice is self-direction?
Well, that's a loaded question. I think the easiest way I can answer that for you is to say that I'm going to speak for the other CCS agencies to say that even if a coordinator who is assigned to a person isn't an expert on self-direction, which very few of us are at this date and time, every organization has at least one or two professionals who are focusing their attention on how to navigate self-direction. So without a support broker, DDA is getting ready to publish some guidance on who is really the right kind of person and family to self-direct their services. So without a support broker, if a person chooses not to use a support broker, DDA is going to become more and more specific about what a family or caregiver or person is able to accomplish on their own if a person chooses not to use a support broker. So that's coming. This particular TY group, TY 21s, I think will be in pretty good position if they choose to self-direct their services to get them up and running by that July 1st time period. So let's keep our fingers crossed that all of the guidance that DDA gives us is helpful, useful, and applicable to what we do to support you in the community in getting your services up and running as an adult. How exciting is that?
Great. And then I think I just see one other question here.
Sure.
So all of the CCS agencies are private companies. And they get paid through DDA. So the question here is, how does the TY and the family, they're able to choose one of you guys, and can you speak to that process and how they're able to select the CCS organization?
Sure, I'll speak a little bit to that. So they're not all of the CCS agencies are private, because Montgomery County government is in the business of providing coordination of community services. However, Montgomery County is not accepting new clients because the county government caps the number of people that we're allowed to serve. So if we have somebody who is a transitioning youth age now, we are serving them. The other organizations in Montgomery County are private organizations, and some are, I think most are nonprofit organizations. There might be one or two that are for-profit organization. I'm not really sure about all of those details. But the way that a person can select a CCS agency if they have already been determined eligible for DDA-funded services is to contact the Developmental Disability Administration's Southern Maryland Regional Office by calling from Montgomery County. It typically, for some reason, requires a 1-301-362-5100. And even while we're in this state of virtual work, the DDA has people who are answering their phones and will pass you on to the Coordination of Community Services lead, who will then talk you through how to select a CCS agency to represent your loved one. So it's DDA who people in the community need to reach out to in order to request a CCS agency, whether it means that you have to apply for DDA services from the very beginning, or whether it means that you want to change from one CCS agency to another.
And is that process any different due to COVID right now?
No.
So it's really just about communicating with the Southern Maryland Regional Office.
Correct.
And the option is always there to change the CCS provider at any point, correct?
It is. I will say that that there are certain times of the year within a person's planning year where it may not be the most prudent thing to do at particular times of planning. So, for instance, when if somebody has worked with a CCS agency and they've started the process of applying to medical assistance for their waiver enrollment, it would be a tough time to switch to another CCS agency while in the midst of trying to apply to get waiver services up and running. Not impossible to do, but anyone is allowed to ask for a different coordinator within specific agencies that they're served, and to ask for a different CCS agency altogether by going to the Developmental Disability Administration.
Thank you. And then I just have one last question. If a person is DD eligible, found to be eligible, but they graduate earlier than age 21, what would the process be for that? And is it very similar to the same as if they were to stay in school until age 21?
That's a very good question. So if a person has been determined eligible, as in what was written, DD eligible, but they haven't been approved to have services begin yet, and they finish high school at age 19, let's say, for example, their eligibility for the transitioning youth, the governor's transitioning youth fund, the initiative, the fund, doesn't kick in until they turn 21. And so in order, if they were in a situation between the ages of 19 and 21 to have a crisis where they would be harmed, their health and safety would be jeopardized if they didn't have support in place, well, then they would go to their coordinator of community services. Or if they don't have their coordinator of community services yet linked, they would call DDA, that main number at DDA, and report to DDA that there is a crisis. And then DDA would connect them with a coordination of community services, and that coordinator that gets assigned to them would work with them to communicate to DDA the urgency of their need